सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om, may Brahman protect us, may it nourish us, may we work in harmony with great vigor. May our study be illuminating, may we not cherish ill feeling towards each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome to today's scripture class, and today's subject is Viveka Chudamani. May we all be in peace so that we can understand the subject, the great teachings of the great Acharya Shankara, and it can transform our life. Some deeper thought goes to our understanding, and we become closer to our real nature, which we call Atman. And that is possible when we are focused, peaceful, mind is not distracted. That's why the prayer, that may the Divine give us that quality to be in the subject and to absorb the teaching of the Shastras so that it can change our lives, so that it becomes illuminative. Really, it stays with us. So today's Viveka Chudamani, we just last time had the 502 verse number, where it describes the nature of the Atman. So what is the nature of the Atman? Name pravrittir nachame nivrittihi sadaika rupasya nirangsakasya ekatmakoyo nivido nirantaro vyomena purna sakatham nu chestate. Wonderful qualities of the Atman says, Name pravritti nachame nivritti. Pravritti is when we try to have our worldly achievements. That's called pravritti. Want to do something in the world. Engaging in work is pravritti. We try to achieve success in our life. Nivritti is cessation from work. We travel from work, more turning our eyes inside. So that is nivritti. Nivritti leads us towards our true self, and pravritti leads us towards the worldly achievements, worldly success. So what it says, I have no pravritti, nothing to gain from the world. No nivritti also. There is no desire even to have nivritti, even to withdraw from the objects of the senses. So why? Because I know now who I am. I am not in the position now to withdraw and focus myself. I know who I am. Now nivritti is also gone. To realize the truth, we must practice nivritti, give up pravritti and be involved in nivritti. But now the position is, I don't have to practice nivritti also. I don't have to withdraw from the subject because I know already who I am. Because I don't need nivritti. Why? Because I am ekatmaka. So what is ekatmaka? Advaita swarupaka. I am one without a second. So from what will I withdraw and where will I engage myself? Everything is my own self. When everything is your own self, where will you engage? From what you will withdraw? So sadaika rupasya, sada eka, ekatmaka. So that's why there is nothing is needed. And beautiful words is given about our realization. It is nivida. Nivida is dense, uniform. Nivida. So Swami Vivekananda writes in one place, Nivida adhare mato. No, it's not Swami, it's a mother, divine mother song, a Mother Kali's. Mother, your form shines in the dense darkness. Everything seems to be dark. The whole world becomes dark, and there I find your form shining. Nibida adhare mato chamake arupa rashi. Your form shines when there is dark all around. The world is negated. What remains is you, O Divine Mother, and your form, your awareness, the reality shines when world is not there. That's what it is saying. So Nivida here means dense, uniform. That is the meaning of Nivida. And what is it? Nirantara. It is without any gap. There is nothing where I am not. I am present everywhere, densely present, equally present. That is what my real nature is. And it is Vyomena Purna. It is Purna like Akasha, like Vyoma. It's everywhere. The example is given Vyoma. And it is everywhere. That's why Purna is full. Katham nu chestate. How can I be engaged in any work when I am in all? There is nothing more remains for me to attain. There is no desire left me for anything. Where is the work? Chesta, work, creativity. These are all the signs of apurnata, or feeling there is some want, some gap, some lacuna. Then we want to fill that lacuna want in our mind. I have not achieved this, I want to achieve this. I want to create something because there is some gap is there which I feel I should make. So when there is all contentment is there, nothing is there to gain. Because I find there is nothing more than that. Katham nu chestate. How can there be any attempt for any work? So there is no work for the Atman. Atman doesn't have to work for anything because it is Purna, it is all full, it is contented, it is absolutely blissful. There is nothing for Atman to achieve. That's what Shankara says in this verse number 502, through the experience of the students who have realized the self by meditating on the teaching of their teachers. So that is it, say, that we studied last time. Now go to just verse number 503. Beautiful verses. Here it says again about the Atman. Punyani papani nirindrayasya nischetaso nirvikrite nirakrite kuto mamakhanda sukhanubhute vrute henanva gatammityapi shruti. So beautifully it is said, Punyani papani nirindrayasya. I have no sense organ, no indriya. I have no indriya without sense organs. Neither I have jnanendriya nor karmendriya. I am without any indriya. Indriya suggests that there is something desired there, something work to be done, something to be known, something to be gained. So there is nothing that needs to be gained. So there is no indriya for the Atman. Atman doesn't have indriya. So one which doesn't have indriya means doesn't have jnanendriya or karmendriya. So when there is no jnanendriya, no karmendriya, so there is without jnanendriya there is no bhoga. Without karmendriya there is no karta bhava. So no karta, no bhoga. So we're free from that. You don't work, you don't enjoy. Karta, bhokta, both gone because you are nirindriya. So for such person, where is punyani and papani? No punya, no, if you don't work at all, if you don't have any desire, selfish desire to work, there is no punya and papa, all are gone. You have become totally purified with this knowledge. That's why Sri Krishna says in the Gita, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing as pure as the jnana, knowledge. When we know the self, that is the purity. Or even the knowers of the self, those are the pure being. To be in the presence of the people who have realized God, God-realized person, that is the real purity it attains. So Holy Mother is a beautiful example to one of her relatives who was feeling that she is impure, touched something on the ground, on the road. So she said, I want to go and take bath at this night. And it was night. Holy Mother says, where if you go winter time in the river, you will get cold. You don't have to. Just wash your feet. She washed feet with water. I feel like it's dirty, yet I feel like taking a shower, taking a dip in the river. Then Holy Mother said, sprinkle some Ganga water. And she did. Ganga water is so purifying. Even the Ganga Jala Lava Kanika Pita Sakrita Biyasya Murari Samarcha Tasya Yama Kim Gurute Charcha. If you have little of Ganga water saved and repeat the name of God, what Yama can do? Yama can do to only your body. He cannot do anything to your soul. You become so full of purity that the self reveals itself when you have the power of Ganga purifying yourself. So still that she did, and she said, Auntie, I am not yet feeling that purified. I think I feel. What are you saying in this code? If you don't feel even Ganga water can purify it, then touch my body, said Holy Mother. That is the Nahi Jnanena Sadrisham, one with the divinity. That purity, touch that purity, there is nothing more purifying than the thought or touch of the great avatars, like Divine Mother herself. That is the power of purity, power of knowledge. That's why it says, what is Papa for me, what is Punya for me? I am gone beyond that. No Papa or no Punya, no good or no evil can touch me, because I am not under the bondage of sense organs. And Nischetaso Nirvikrite Nirakrite. Not only that, free from Punya and Papa, the idea of doing good and having done bad, that bad is also gone. You don't do any good, any bad. Whom you do good and where do you want to have merit? You are already full. You are Satchidananda Swarupa. What good you will add to the Satchidananda Swarupa? And it's such a blazing fire, that purity, that knowledge. How can any Papa, any evil touch that? So it cannot be touched by any Papa. There is no scope to do any Punya, because it is pure Satchidananda Swarupa. Nischetaso nirvikrite nirakrite. And what is it? Nischetasa, no idea to work, chetas. And also it is without any mind. It is no sense organs, no mind. Nischetaso nirvikrite. And there is no change in it. Vikriti is change. Sat vikriti they call. So there are 6 changes in the physical thing, physical body. It is born, it exists, then there is maturity, there is growth, and finally it declines and death. But Atman is nirvikrite, it doesn't change. It is as it is forever. It doesn't change at all. Nirvikrite, nirakrite. How big is the Atman? There is no akara. You cannot say how big it is. It is infinite, that only you can say. And how big is infinity? You cannot think of infinity, it is so big. Or whatever it is. You cannot have idea of infinity. It is just infinity. It is absolute. So, but there is no change in it. It was never created, and it is pure like a fire. It is having nothing can sin touch, and it doesn't do anything that we call punya. So, no merit to be earned. Where the merit will be kept? It is already fully, absolutely pure. So that is the nature of the Atman. Kuto mama khanda sukhanubhuti. Kuto mama khanda sukhanubhute bhute henanva gatamidyapi suti. Where is the akhanda sukhanubhuti? Where is all the things for me who always is in akhanda sukhanubhuti, realization of absolute bliss? That is my nature. I am always filled with bliss. Nothing can change me. That is what the person says. And what it says, Shruti Brute. That's what the Shruti is saying. And Shruti is also saying the same thing that I am experiencing. That it says. And the quality of what Shruti says for the self is Ananvagatam. Brute hi Ananvagatam. What is Ananvagatam? Not affected by anything is called Ananvagatam. Not associated with anything. Not touched by anything. They say, so Sri Ramakrishna says, Brahman is not defiled by the tongue. It is not touched by the tongue. Everything that we eat is defiled by the tongue. Everything we speak, as if tongue is touching that thing through our speech. But Brahman, the nature of Brahman is not defiled by even tongue. Ananvagata. It is not associated with anything. That's what the Shruti describes the Brahman as Ananvagata. So that is my nature. I am Ananvagata. I am not touched by anything. So that is the nature. Unaffected, untouched, undefiled, unstained. Nothing in the world or in heaven has power to change me or defile me or make me impure and make me sad, because I am Akhanda Sukhanubhuti. I am absolute bliss. That is the nature of the self. If one has that idea, so how fulfilled the person is, having understood what the Atman is. Now this Vedanta, this treatise, what they do is they tell us what the Atman is. Now it is up to us to meditate on this nature of the Atman. This meditation is called Nididhyasana. Now Sravana Manana is done. Think deeply who you are. You are not the thing that you think yourself to be. Body, not you are. Body has many impurities. It becomes old, changes come. So you can't be body which ever undergoes changes. You can't be mind that is also affected, not seen, but affected by the things. You can't be, you can observe the mind. So who you are in reality unchanging principle, which is ever perfect, ever contented, nothing it desires, nothing, no sin can touch it. When we think of our true nature as this Atman, then we go deeper, and when we know that it is Akhanda Sukhanubhuti, the nature of the Atman, it is of the undivided, undiminishing, unchanging bliss, undivided bliss. When you divide the bliss, then it becomes sometimes it is there, sometimes it is not there. There is little of there and more is not there. But it is not indivisible, Akhanda, then Akhanda Ananda. That is what Akhanda Sukhanubhuti. That is the nature. When we think ourselves that, oh, nothing can touch me. No problems of the world, no misery of the world can touch my real nature. And we go deeper into it, and then we realize our true nature. That's what it is said. In Brihadaranyaka it is said, Ananvagata, untouched by merits and untouched by demerits, for he is then beyond all the afflictions of the heart. That's what it is said in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Here Shankara refers to that and says, Shruti, Brute, the Shruti Upanishad also said about the Atman, that is the nature I experience, untouched by anything, not merit or demerit. So that is what in verse 503 beautifully it says. Now Shankara will still describe through the student's experience that what is the Atman. You see, the Atman is something which is not object. It is a subject. It is incomparable to anything in the world. But it has to be explained to the people like us who have not realized, and try to have little glimpse of it, giving the examples in the world. No example is actually is the way the Atman is. It cannot go even near, but it can give an idea of what Atman will be there. So we can compare that. In the next verse, Shankara describes the Atman beautifully here, you see. How Atman is untouched by anything that happens to us, to this body and mind. It is untouched because it is witness. Witness, when it is affected, is no more witness. It is the witness consciousness. It is ever conscious, ever alert, all-knowing witness is the Atman. So what is that? If it is there, we feel that we are affected by the events of the world, but the Shastras say you are not affected. That is because we don't understand our real nature. We think we are the body, we are the mind, we are the intellect. That's why we become affected. But when we understand our true self, we are not affected by any of this. So here Shankara tries to give this example through the statement of the student who have realized the self, and says, verse 504, Chhayaya sprishta mushnam va shitam va shushtu dushtu va na sprishatyeva yat kinchit purusham tad vilakshanam. So you see how this gives the example of beautiful. There is thing, it is when it touches the heat or cold, is not affected. What is that? It's a chhaya. Chhaya, or the shadow, is not affected whether there is warm or cold. Chhaya is not affected. You are inside a room, your shadow falls outside in minus 35 degrees. The shadow is shivering with cold? No, it will not know anything of this thing. It is not affected by any cold or any heat. What affects heat and cold is this body. Chhaya is not affected. It looks like the body, that is the form of the body, but it is neutral to any changes in environment. And shushtu dushtuva is not affected by any evil or any goodness. Shushtu means goodness and dushtu means evil. Good or evil, that does not touch this. Or evil happens to touch the shadow of a man's body. Like that is our body. Like the shadow. Compare your body like a shadow, so it will not be affected. If heat or cold, good or evil happens to touch the shadow of a man's body, it affects not the least the man himself. So shadow will not be affected. The man will not be affected if shadow goes through those things. Like that is the Atman. When the body or mind goes through all these things, it will not be affected by the Atman will not be affected by the afflictions of the body. As the shadow is not affected, body is not affected when the shadow goes through all these pure or impure things. So like that, here Shankara clearly tries to differentiate, as the difference between the shadow and body is similar is the difference between body and the Atman. So when shadow goes through something, it doesn't affect. Shadow is composed to the eyes, body and mind. Shadow is compared to that. That it is not affected with that. The body is not affected by when the shadow is affected. So similarly, this body, mind, etc. is like the shadow that goes through all the things, but mind is the Atman is the real person, it is not affected by that. Yat kincha purusham tat vilakshanam. Nothing happens to the Purusha, to the man himself. Why? Because it is distinct from the body and mind. Why not shadow being affected the way we are affected? If our shadow is there, someone does something to the shadow, someone walks over our shadow. Is it harming us anyway? No pain, no insult. If someone does insult our shadow, tramples upon that, we should not be affected by that, because it is to something that is not myself, that is separate. We have the idea that shadow is not me. That we can clearly understand, I am not the shadow. And when I have that idea, shadow is separate from me, so whatever happens to shadow does not happen to me. Shadow goes through good or evil, anything happen to me. Shadow goes through heat or cold, doesn't happen anything to me. Similarly, when something happens to this body and mind, nothing happens to real person, because vilakshana, I am separate from this body and mind. I am that Atman, I am that witness consciousness, I am that Satchidananda Swarupa, I am that Atma, which will not be affected by anything changes that happens to the body-mind system. As a shadow happening something to shadow, the body-mind is not affected. So something happening to body-mind will not affect me. So shadow is compared to body-mind. As for the body-mind is shadow, similarly is body-mind to the Atman. So trying to think this body and mind as the shadow, something not happening to me. The only problem that we have, the ignorance, is Dehatma Buddhi, I am body. that creates this ignorance, deep-rooted ignorance, this adhyasa, this superimposition on the self of body and mind. This creates all problems in the world. This creates the samsara. So to get rid of this idea that I am body and mind is all sadhana. To get rid of dehatma bhava, dehatma bodha, that is so wrong, and that brings all misery, all suffering to me, which doesn't belong to me at all. I am free from all the suffering and the misery and the happening and the pure or impure, nothing touches me. And what happens to the body, I start considering that that is happening to me because of my identification with body. And how this identification comes? Because of ignorance. How does ignorance come? Because of lack of knowledge of the self. If we could understand what is self, then this identification with the body will go away. And then we will be always blissful in all conditions. So many things will happen to the body and mind. So many situations will change, but the Atman will remain same. So we get really associated with the body and mind and affected. So when we move more closer to the true self, awareness of the true self, then we can go back and stay there, and we can detach ourselves from the happening to this body and mind and rest there. Yastu atma ratireva syat atma tripta samanava atman neva cha santusta tasya karyam na vidyate. That is what is called resting in the Atma. Atma Ramo Bhavati in your Narada Bhakti Sutta it says, when one attains bhakti, he becomes Atma Rama. All his arama, all his Rama, his rest and his joy, the person's joy is in the true self, not in the things that is given to the body. And you give body, put the garlands to the body, nothing happens to that person. I am not the body. Always finds it is a shadow. People are honoring the shadow. What is that to me? Or some people are cursing you. Some people even dishonoring your body. That is nothing happening to me. They are doing that to the body. So what that happens to me, you have no Dehatma Buddha. You have Atma Buddhi already started coming. You are already fixed in the body, your true nature. And you dissociate from the body because you are Vilakshana, you are separate, you are other than the Atman. So that knowledge makes us free from all the suffering of the world. Otherwise there is suffering in the world. So to get rid of suffering, Buddha said, there is suffering when we are ignorant, when we are full of desires. That's what it says, tanha is the cause of suffering. When we have desires, when we do not know we are all-pervading absolute self, Satchidananda Swarupa, when we do not know that, then the desires come. We feel incomplete, imperfect, weak, helpless, then it comes. When we know that, then there is no suffering. That's Buddha will say, try to practice spirituality by being truthful, speaking nice words, and trying to do right meditation, right livelihood. Do not cheat in your life. Lead a moral and ethical life, and gradually turn your minds towards helping others, be friendly to all, through the process of karma yoga, Buddha says. But Sanatana Dharma will say, karma yoga is one part. You can add to that, make quicker progress to nirvana. What is the quicker practice? Bring the element of bhakti in your life. You bring the bhakti, prayer, japam, and then you become closer to God much easily, because that is the purification of emotions. You have emotions also. Also bring the path of meditation. Try to think of the self, or think of divine person whom you find is the close to self, is not affected, he or she is not affected by the worldly thing, is they're all broad-minded, is pure, and that person is all powerful to even take you, and that person will not leave you. Like that you think and meditate on that particular being, who is close to God or who has attained Nirvana or attained Brahmajnana, or you yourself think about the true self through meditation. Anyway, you can meditate on Sakara Brahmas, that is the God, or Nirakara Brahma, that is your own self. You try to meditate on that. Bhakti, meditation, karma, and dhyana. And with all that together, you become closer to God. Get what Buddha taught, get what Christ taught, get what Narada said, and apply that to your life, different faculties of your life, and then realize the truth and get rid of, become free from all the suffering that might happen, all the idea of want. This want, I am not complete, I want this. That want is really a sign of not have known your true nature. Because you don't know nature, that's why this want comes. Someone that's why said, I want peace in life. There's too much of this restlessness and suffering and misery, all this so complicated life. So someone said, I want peace. So there's no problem, you'll get peace. That just give up your want. Then I, peace. Then also give up I, ego. Then what remains is peace. Problem with not having peace and bliss. That peace is bliss, equal to bliss. The problem is I want. Try to remember. As long as there is I, then we want. Unless that I is totally purified, that I identified with the true self. That is called when you've gone beyond ego or beyond unripe ego. Then there will be want, will be attached. I and want are together. That as it is said, avidya, asmita, raga, dvesa. When there is avidya, you don't know a true self, there comes asmita, I sense, I, separate from the world. And then raga, dvesa, attachment and aversion, and there is desire with that. What you are attached to, you want that to be closer to you, you want that to remain with you, and what you hate, you want to go away from that, you want to throw that away from you. The raga dvesa is associated with asmita. So when that I is there, want is there. Try to remove want, do not want anything. Forget saying I want. May we not accuse, demand or complain. Beautiful. Holy Mother's, based on Holy Mother's teaching. Don't demand anything. When you give up want, peace automatically comes. Holy Mother also said, if you want peace of mind, don't find fault with others, don't judge others. That's what Holy Mother said. When we stop judging others, complaining about others, talking ill about others, talking about the shortcomings about others, then naturally peace starts coming. Just if you say goodness everywhere, see goodness, that is very fulfilling. That is closer to Atman, because goodness is the thing that fills, that removes your wants. That's what the goodness is. Then when that want is removed, you become closer to the self, your own true nature. And then you go away from all the suffering and complaints, and this thing goes away. So Holy Mother says that, and you also come closer to that. So I want peace, I and want together, give up the I and want, what remains is peace. So here also it says, it is also possible when we can feel that body and mind are not my real self, I am that true self, always bright and brilliant and glorious and pure. Just being with it now and then, even in our worldly duty, among our worldly duties. That's why they say do prayer morning and evening without fail. So while working in the world, you may get associated with your ego, and the body consciousness comes, identification may come. So when we practice at least morning and evening our spiritual practice and want to withdraw our identity from the body-mind system to our own true self or to God, then we are closer to truth. And that energizes our awareness. That makes our awareness more brighter, and gradually we move from this adhyasa, a wrong idea about true self, to the right knowledge of the self. Gradually we move. There is change comes in our awareness. We understand who we are. As the change comes in our awareness, change comes in our behavior also. When we start seeing the all defects in others, you don't mind how other person is. You become more tolerable. You can tolerate more. You can accept the people with difference more. People will be like that. Because you don't consider other person as body. You start considering not considering yourself as body and mind. You also start seeing other person as not body and mind. The behavior of other person, you say it is the body and mind of that person is behaving in that way, which is never perfect, but that person is also divine in its true nature. So you try to relate the person as the divine being with having the body-mind, not that bad or something, different. It will be everyone will be different. So you start accepting the difference of human beings, like having different types of flowers, the violet and the yellow and the white and the red, all beautiful flowers. Some are, people are friendly, some are not so friendly, some are criticizing, some are you may feel that they hate you, but whom they hate, if you understand, they don't hate you at all. They hate, nobody can hate you because you are one with all. They may have some difference with your mental system, body system, behavior system, which you are really not. So you start accepting those persons and get established in the true self. And gradually find everything is changing, your behavior is changing. The world becomes less disturbing to you. The world was not like that. Earlier you used to get agitated in small things. Now you can just accept the things, okay, that also is fine. The whatever he says is fine. Don't get disturbed with what other person said. So you become so tolerable. You can tolerate the things of the world. You don't lose peace. Why? Because I want is gone. I want that person should be quiet. I want that person should be friendly. I want that person should be well behaved. That is also gone. When I want goes, that also goes. Whatever that person have, let it be like that, doesn't matter. You get the strength to handle even the misbehavior of that person because you are closer to the self. That happens. Doesn't matter at all how another person behaves with you. So, little may be there, but you find the ways, you are always smiling, you are not agitated and disturbed. When one person is in two persons relationship, one person is less agitated, less disturbed, and other person is that way, you'll find gradually even the behavior and relationship gets better. When you don't react, you don't immediately retaliate to the words spoken to you, then that person will not say anything to you. That's how our awareness of the self becomes so strong and dominate our behavior. Because we are closer to the idea of the self, the fullness, the one without a second, the thing, our own being, our self present everywhere, and that gives us true knowledge. True knowledge is very purifying. It purifies ourselves and also it purifies to the place where we are. That is the nature of the self. So, na sprishatyeva yat kinchit purusham tad vilakshanam. Purusha, it doesn't touch anything, chaya dharmi, the body, whatever happens to it, it will not touch the Purusha. Body, mind is chaya for the Atma, for the Purusha, and the shadow is the chaya for the body, mind. As the shadow, whatever happens to it, wherever it goes, whatever things comes to it, doesn't affect at all the person, the body, mind. Similarly, whatever happens to body, mind doesn't affect the Purusha. Why doesn't affect? Because vilakshana, it is separate. You and body, mind are not same. They are not connected at all. They are not connected. This connection is all ignorance. Some people are there, even they consider the shadow as their being, the part of their life. When you have so much of ignorance, then it becomes difficult. There was some system that in Kerala, Swamiji said, there were people who, when they went out in the street, has to shout that the other higher caste people don't come, so that their shadow doesn't touch the higher caste people. As if shadow touching the body of other person will make them impure. No, the person is touching, shadow is touching. The level of ignorance, what deeper ignorance they have gone. And they are considered to be very high caste Brahmins who consider that way. There is sheer ignorance. Shadow is not the person. Neither your shadow are you, nor other shadow is he or she. So, but that was the system earlier gone, many centuries ago, that was the system. So, ignorance even feels that way. If someone does something to a shadow, two children are playing, one child goes and angry with his friend, and he goes and tramples the shadow. The friend becomes angry. Why? What are you doing to my shadow? No, I have not done nothing to you, but you were trampling my shadow, the head of my shadow. So that person becomes angry. Sheer ignorance can make that also. But the knowledgeable person will not be affected by what happens to the shadow. Shadow is different from the body, body is different from the Atman. So whatever happens to body does not affect the Atman. This distinction has to be brought and experienced, then only we can say, I am Atma Brahma or Aham Brahmasmi. Then we come free from identification with the body. Let's go to next verse number 505. Na sakshinam saksha dharma samprishyanti vilakshanam avikara mudasinam griha dharma pradipavat. Here it gives the example why something happening to body does not affect our Atman. He says, na sakshinam saksha dharma samprishyanti. The logic behind it explained in the previous sloka, that whatever happens to shadow doesn't happen to body, because these two are vilakshana, separate. The saksha dharma, the quality of object, saksha, which is observed, doesn't affect the sakshinam, the sakshi, the witness. Witness is not affected by what it perceives, what he sees. Sansprishanti vilakshana. Sansprishanti means observed, comes in touch with, comes in contact with. It doesn't affect that saksha dharma. The nature of the body does not affect the witness consciousness. Avikar, why does it happen? Because those are different. That's what it is said. Avikaram udasinam. It is avikara. It is without change. The sakshi is avikara. It is without change. Whatever change happens to the sakshya or the object that is observed doesn't affect the sakshi, the observer. So that's what Drisya Viveka. Here is what it brings, Sankara brings here in this way. Saksha Sakshinam Viveka. So we need to understand, I am not the Saksha, I am Sakshi. So that, when that happens, you ignore the Sakshi. What happens to Sakshya or Drishya doesn't have anything to Drik, the Sakshi. So the Sakshi is avikara, unchanging. It cannot be changed, changeless. That is the nature of the Sakshi. And what is the Sakshi? Udasina. It is Udasina, unaffected. It is not affected by anything. Udasina, it doesn't take part in any change or event or happening that happens to the Sakshya or Drishya or object of the Sakshi. And it's beautiful example Shankara gives here. What is the difference between Sakshya and Sakshi? He says, Griha Dharma Pradipavat. Like lamp is put in the house. Is lamp affected anyway by the condition of the house? Griha Dharma. House is very clean, nice, or is it dirty, small, stench? Nothing happens to the Pradeep. Because Pradeep is different. The light, the candle is different from the house. These are not one. So like that is the body different from the Atman. Whatever happens to body does not concern with the Atman. Our problem is we consider ourselves with the Griha. not with the Pradipa. So whatever happens to the Griha, we think that happens, that is happening to us. But we are Pradipa, we are that bright light awareness. We are not Griha, the dead material. We are not Sakshya, we are Sakshi. So Sakshya Dharma will not affect the Sakshi, that is the thing. So understanding is needed, who am I? That is always needed. Aham Brahma, Aham Atma. That is always needed to be kept aware and alert in our thought. I am not this body. That awareness is always needed to understand of the Nirvana Satkam. I am not the body, I am not the senses, I am not the food, I am Chidananda Rupa Shiva. When that awareness comes, then only whatever happens to the body will not affect us. We can become Sakshi. Otherwise, we are affected by the thing that happens to the Sakshya, which we are not. If something happens, that identification makes all the difference. Something happens to your car and you feel so bad, oh, I kept the car in the parking lot and some scratch came, and you feel that scratch pain in your body starts paining. Thing when you keep, it will collide, it will have somewhere it will meet other car, and there can be crashes, something may fall, something might happen to the car. That is the nature of the car, you have to accept that. People are sometimes feel so sad for something happening there. Things, when they are created, that it will be old, things will happen to it, color will go, something will happen. But that does not affect me. Some money will go, money is meant for that. You get your salary, you work to maintain the things. When it goes out of order, out of something, then you pay and make it right. But that's how the car goes. But you are separate from the car. If you think you are people associated with body and mind, whatever happening to car doesn't happen to you, the body and mind. So if we are too much identified with our car, with our pen, with our table, so then we become very difficult. Table, something comes and something breaks. That's why this all problem comes with identification and wrong identification. We become attached to the thing that we like and becomes identified with the thing. Suppose you use iPhone and you like it, new model came, 2020 model. And then that phone was kept and you bought recently, and then it fell from the table and you feel so sad. If yourself falls from your hand, then you console, okay, doesn't matter. If it is someone, other person comes, the visitor comes and has thrown, then you become very angry with the visitor. Next time you will not call that person for a long time, and that person says, how are you doing? And you won't answer. Because all your anger of this attachment to this phone goes to that visitor. So like that it happens. So you identify with the phone, and something happened to the phone as if it happened to you. Phone's screen has broken and you feel your head has been broken. So like that thing, it comes with the identification. Wrong, misplaced identification. Then what happened with that? Suffering. You suffer for nothing. When you buy something, you should understand it may fall, it may be lost, I may lose it. So without that understanding, if you buy and you get attached to that, then there is problem for you. There is problem for you. The identification brings problem. Wrong identification brings greater problem in your life, greater misery in your life. The same is about our identification with the body. When we wrongly identify with the body, which we are not, then all the changes that happen to the body will happen. If Pradeep, the person, Pradeep will identify itself with the house, then it will have all the problem. Oh, this is a bad house where I got inside and I was very good in that previous place, or something like that. My friend is enjoying that beautiful, gorgeous room, and where I am. So identification, wrong identification. You are Pradeep, you shed light, you give light, you have nothing to worry about that. So like that is the thing. So that's why it is said, Dharma, Pradeepa, Griha Dharma, how the house is, doesn't touch the Pradeep, which gives light, with the light awareness, that is that. Similar is our body mind to the Atman. Changes in body and mind does not affect our Atman. all this changes is because of relationship also that happens. Someone you love, you think that will be like that, and that person changes his attitude, something comes in it, and you become so sad, oh, that person behaving now this way, I'm so unhappy with that, I never thought he will or she will do this way. Why didn't you think? People change that way. Why you identified with that? Why you had a wrong idea, mistake, ignorance of the nature of the world? When you have ignorance of the thing, you suffer. So, accept the thing that things will change in the world, that person change, relationship change, your body changes, your mind changes, your health changes, everything is ever changing. So, understanding the fact of the Maya, enjoy your life in the human being, considering yourself as the unchanging Atman, deathless, immortal Atman that you are. So, enjoy life, that is what it is. When you have been born here, enjoy life, try to understand, try to have the knowledge of the self, that will give you all the sense of bliss and happiness. Atman is joy, and body and mind, if you are identified, it is suffering, unless you accept the suffering as inevitability of this nature of the body and mind. When you understand this body and mind will go through the sadvikara changes, and you accept those changes, then you deserve not to suffer. You say that I will not suffer, you become like that. Strong enough to avoid the suffering of the mind because your body and mind is suffering, and you considering yourself as the Atman. Let's go to the next verse. Shankara here clarifies still how these two things unrelated cannot affect other. You see, verse 506. Raver yatha karmani shakshi bhavo bandher yatha daha niyamakatvam rajjor yatha ropita vastu sangha tathaiva kutastha chidatmano me. What is Atman? That is not affected by the thing that is other than the Atman. Whatever happens in that is not happening to me. I am not affected, I am just a witness. And gives the example of Ravi. Raver yatha karmani shakti bhavo. Sun is the sakshi of all the action that goes here. What is the sakshi? Because of the sun's presence, all the action goes. Whole life depends on the sun. But sun is not dependent on the actions or the karma of this universe, of this solar system. It is independent, it is separate. There is nothing that actions of the world will affect the sun, because it is Sakshi. So like that is our soul of the Atman, which is not affected by what happens to this body and mind. It is just the Sakshi of body and mind. It is present, does nothing, not connected, is separate, like the sun to this world. All actions of the body and mind does not affect the Atman. That's what Ravi Yathakar, Ravi gives the example of sun. Vanner yatha daha niyamakatvam. Like this fire is not affected by what it burns. You see, fire is also Sakshi, it is indifferent to what it burns. So whatever you give it in contact, it will burn without being affected anything. So fire, it is not affected by what it burns. Like that is the Atman. Whatever happens to because what is burned is not the fire. Fire is the fire. So another example it gives, like it says, as fire burns everything without distinction, it is impartial to anything that comes to it. Like that is the self, impartial. And as the rope is, and it's a rajjor yatha ropita vastu sangha. Like the rope is separate, indifferent from what is aropita on it. You see snake on the rope, but rope is unaffected by your vision of snake there. Because rope is the truth, not connected with the snake. This is not snake at all, no relationship with the snake at all. In ignorance you see the snake there and you want to beat with a stick, then rope will be affected. But rope itself has no any change because someone sees snake there. So like that is it is said. Because tathaiva kutastha chidatmano me. Similarly is the chidatmana, the conscious self, my conscious self is unaffected by what happens to this world, what happens to this body and mind, what happens to all its relationship. That's what is the thing. Because that all is made up, all events that happens are neutral. Events happening to relationship affects us because we get attached to that. So it becomes tatha kutastha chidatmano me. So because it is kutastha, unchangeable, ever same, that's called kutastha. It is permanent, unchangeable self. So our self is not affected by the change in the thing one feels that it is associated with by mistake. So our body, mind, relationship, whatever happens to that, self is unaffected by that because it is vilakshana, it is asanga, aropita vastu sanga. So it is asanga, it is atma, it is unattached to anything. Relationship get involved because why this sanga comes, why this attachment comes, why this, someone was explaining, why you get attached when you consider every relationship, then it affects us. I am a mother, then you get affected with your son or daughter because you consider yourself as the mother. But Atman is not the mother. Atman is not the brother. Atman is not the monk. Atman is not the householder. So when we consider ourselves as the householder or a monk, mother or a brother, then this relationship becomes a thing. The lifestyle becomes very important. But when we consider ourselves as the Atman, there is no other adhyasa, no other ignorance, no other upadhi is there. All upadhis are thrown away. To become free from all upadhis, consider yourself as the Atman, that is equal, that is uniform, that is one without a second, and then you are not affected by anything that happens to the upadhi. Upadhi is considered as something different and separate from the Atman. So we need to vivicca viveka, that separate the body-mind from the Atman. Atman is pure and glorious, unattached and unrelated, one without a second, ever blissful, immortal, eternal. So when that is our nature, why we should consider this temporary, impure, ever-changing, ever-imperfect, that being as ourselves? So this, considering ourselves as this imperfect body-mind, is sheer ignorance. We should shed that ignorance and try to think ourselves as the Atman. And when little understanding or a glimpse of the Atman comes, try to meditate more often and try to be more identified with the Atman. From Dehatma Buddhi to Atma Buddhi, that should be our spiritual journey. And when we progress in Atma Buddhi, from Dehatma Buddhi to, then we become free from all the miseries, all the suffering, existential suffering of this life. And anything that comes to this body and mind, we can handle that peacefully, we can handle that intelligently, and we are not affected by that thing. And the life, human life, becomes really a blessing. And that is what is called God realization. When you become your true self, that is called God realization. When you overcome and go beyond, you cross this samsara, this misunderstanding of yourself to be a part of this creation. You thinking yourself to be Saksha Dharma instead of Sakshi. Sakshi is different from the Saksha. I am not the Saksha. The Saksha Dharma doesn't affect me. Griha Dharma, as Griha Dharma doesn't affect the light, Pradipa. Similarly, Saksha Dharma, the quality of this body-mind or object doesn't affect me, the Sakshi. So this awareness, the closer we are with this awareness of our true self, the more we are going towards the fulfillment of the human life. This achievement is the goal of ultimate goal of the human life. In the human life, we can get that awareness of our true nature, of our true self. Thank you very much for being with us today so long. So we will close today's scripture class with this closing chants. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Pada Padme Tayo Shritva Pranamami